Hello, good afternoon, everybody. I can see two of the participants have joined. Welcome to Zoom with Purpose. We are going to be having a look at Zoom today and how to get the best out of it. Erica, I think you were just about to say something. Please just say hello.
Just saying, good to be here, Sam. That was all it was.
Fantastic. Just tell us a little bit about yourself.
So my name's Erica Farmer. I work in learning and development. I live in the West Country with my two little pugs, Pepper and Daisy.
Super cute. Fantastic. Thank you, Erica. Pleasure to have you with us this afternoon. Stephen, I can see that you have joined as well. Good afternoon, Stephen. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm all right, thanks. Not too bad at all. Just tell us a
Good.
little bit about yourself, just before we kind of get underway officially.
My name's Stephen. I'm normally a lead data analyst for companies around the UK. And I live in Bournemouth by the beach at the minute, so that's not too bad.
Oh, that's not a bad place to be in the summer, is it?
Not really.
No, not really. Definitely not. Thank you very much, guys, for joining. Like I've said, let me just flick across to the main session slides now, because I'm kind of really keen to sort of get into the main content and just share with you some fantastic stuff. Just to give you the heads up as well, if I keep looking across, I'm just checking my second machine just to make sure that everything is correct as well, because the Erica's nodding her head there too. So welcome then to Zoom with Purpose. We should be here for around about 30 minutes or so, but let me just introduce myself first of all. You guys have just introduced yourselves as well. My name's Sam Sloan. I'm going to be your facilitator this afternoon. I'm a coach, I'm a mentor, I'm an online trainer, I'm a facilitator, face-to-face, you name it. I've done it over the last 14 years, but online I've done for around about the last 10. And you know, I'm so passionate to make sure the knowledge that I pass on to people when I'm doing assessments, for instance, is to really set them up to succeed as well within this space. That's exactly what we're going to do with you two guys today. I live in Manchester, as you may be able to tell, and I love aviation. And this session this afternoon has a little bit, just a small bit, of an aviation tinge to it. And I hope you both enjoy it. So that's just a little bit about me. But what I'm really keen to do, first of all, is to just show you guys how to communicate online, because this is a really interactive session and I want you to get the most out of it. So audio, everybody's connected their audio. I've just checked your audio as well, which is superb. So we know that that's working absolutely fine. Also, that's your tool panel. So if you wiggle your mouse, because at the moment we're in share mode, you'll see a tool panel that appears on the very bottom of your screen. And if you can both open up your participant panels for me and your chat panels, and then just double click the slide, and they should just flick across over to that right hand side. And then of course they're going to be there for you guys to be able to use at your will. Have you both done that?
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Great that you've got your cameras on as well, and then I can see you both as well. Yeah, Erica said hello. So what we're going to do first of all, though, is just to test and check out those tools that you have. The participants panel, you should be able to see your own name. Can you just give me a green tick, please? Just so I know that you have found it. If you can both do that, that's absolutely perfect. Very speedy there, both of you. And also, just to give you the heads up, if you do need to step away from your screen, just so I don't point a question to you, just in the little more menu, could you just pop your little coffee cup on for me? And then I know that you have also found that as well. If you could do that for me, Stephen, that would be awesome. Just the three little dots, that's it. Perfect. Stephen looks very pleased with himself that he's just found that. Okay, we've also got chat. Now, a couple of things that we can do with chat here. And chat to everyone, which I would encourage you to do throughout the session. And of course, you can chat internally to each other as well. But while we're in session, if you can just make sure it's sent to everybody. I can see Erica's already done that, which is fantastic. Thank you so much, Erica. And Stephen, if you can just do the same for me. Oh, just jump forward then. If you could just do the same for me and just send me a very quick chat message, that would be awesome. Hi from Stephen as well. Perfect. Okay, now things start to get a little bit more interesting now. Annotation tools. So where do we find those? So we're going to go right to the very top of your screen now, and you'll be able to see it says you are viewing Sam Sloan's screen. You've got a little view options, and then in the little drop down at the side, third option down is annotate. If you could just open that toolbar for me, that would be awesome. And it will look just like it does at the very bottom of the screen here. But I want you to practice this a little bit as well using these tools. So I've given you, obviously, an aviation themed word search. I'd like you first of all though to type your name. So select the little T and just type your name anywhere on that slide. If you want to change your format or your color, the format changes the size of the font as well. You can do that in the little color palette. But the little T will allow you to text and type as well. Erica, I can see yours perfect, Stephen. Just waiting to see yours as well. We found that? There it is, perfect. Okay, so what I'd like you to do now then is select the drawing tool. We're going to be working our way along this palette as we go through the session and see how many of these we can find on the word search here. Even I'm going to join in. And then once you've found them, you can score them off on that left-hand side. We don't have to do all of it. It's just you guys can have a little bit of a practice. I've already found a couple. There we go. Rotate. That's the takeoff, of course. Generally helps in aviation, I've got to say. Lift. Am I doing this on my own?
No, can you see mine? I'm doing mine.
Ah, there we are. Oh, Erica's got all fancy. She's gone. She's gone for the squares.
Yeah, I'm doing the box.
Oh.
Propeller has done that. Oh, Stephen likes your that box there. That's fantastic.
Drew over that for you.
That
Oh, I did gear. I didn't do gear up. I did gear. Seat up.
That's okay. Oh yeah, there's a space as well, isn't there? What's that all about? Absolutely. This is really, like I've said there, just to kind of get you practicing these tools. We're going to come back to the annotation tools in a little while. Okay. But what I'm going to do here as well, I'll leave your answers up if you like. And what I can actually do as well is move on just to see if you guys were actually correct as well. And there's all of the correct answers as well. So well done for finding those. And you can even save your work and bring that back in later on and save that, send that to you on an email if you so wish. So I'm just going to clear all of those drawings down now and thank you for that interaction as well. We'll come back to the annotation tools in a little while. This session is going to be recorded and I'm going to distribute that to you afterwards as well. Send you a link to YouTube. It's going to last around about 30 minutes, like I've said, and I've got lots of interactions for you to complete in the meantime. Highly interactive. I am going to come to you, open up your mics, get you doing stuff and get you answering lots of questions like I've just said. So let's just have a look at what we're going to be doing in the agenda. How to use the tools? Well, we've just been doing that. And I'm going to load in a poll in just a second around the perceptions of online environments. Also appropriate topics that can be trained effectively online. And this is where we're going to use your annotation tools again in just a few moments. And what interaction tools are available within these platforms nowadays. Also designing powerful visuals and what that actually looks like. And of course, then we're going to move on to the close and the Q&A as well. Does anybody have any questions? I'm just going to stop sharing my screen just for a second. Does anybody have any questions about anything that we're going to cover so far?
Nothing from me.
Everybody's okay? Fantastic. Okay, so let's just go back to share my screen then. So I'm really keen to know specifically what it is that you would like to take away from this session. So this is called a swim lane whiteboard. You're going to need those annotation tools again. Back up to the top, get your annotation tools, type your name for me in that left-hand column. And then write down, find a little lane. What is it specifically that you want to take away? Fantastic. You've even made your text bigger. Experts. Erica's saying there to be able to use Zoom functionality. Fantastic. I suppose it's sort of showing you and showcasing, isn't it, what it actually can do as well. A lot of people just simply don't realise the capability. So that's a great one, Erica. Fantastic. See Stephen's typing away there. Okay. Also, to consider interactivity online. Fantastic. What's your thoughts about interactivity at the moment online, Erica?
I think there's lots of people who've had to move to online learning and are probably delivering more one-to-many spoken, passive for the learner type sessions, rather than considering if they can interact and engage their learners on a really regular basis. It's going to be better for the learner. They're going to know right from the beginning that they need to engage, and they're going to take more away from it.
Brilliant. Yeah, definitely. And that's ultimately what we want to do, isn't it? This is our new normal. So yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Thank you, Erica. Stephen, you've added how to get maximum involvement from an online session. Oh, okay. Well, come. Do you know, Stephen, I'm going to ask you how much involvement or how involved did you feel in this session? I'm going to ask you that question right at the very end as well. So thank you. That's a great one. Thank you, Stephen. Okay, so again, I'm just going to save that whiteboard, and I can bring that back in a little while as well. And then, of course, we can see how you fared in relation to your objectives or your takeaways. Okay, so let's move the slide on. Some ground rules, just some etiquette. Be punctual, be here. And you guys, of course, are. Minimize those distractions. Turn your phone off. Turn your phone off. I should not off. Off. Participate. Get involved. And also be prepared to be called upon, just like I've just done just a second ago. Okay, so let's move then to our first activity, online classrooms. Like we've said, it's our new normal, isn't it? This is how things are going to be going forwards. So let's make the best out of them. But what I want to know is, what is your current perception of online sessions? And I'm just going to launch a poll. You'll see that poll pop up right in the center of your screen. Do you think they're boring? Do you think they're okay-ish? Do you think just sit and get talked at? I can play Zoom bingo. They're good. Or are they highly effective learning environments? Oh, now interesting. Of course, you guys at the moment can't see who has voted for what. So let me just share those results with you. We've got one person saying sit and get talked at. So just tell me a little bit about the experience that kind of makes you come to that perception.
Oh yeah, that was me. I think a lot of trainers just like to just try and get that information out there and hope you soak it in.
Okay.
And just rely on you listening. And I don't think it's like you said that, you know, you try and call upon people, you know, you want people to participate, you know, you will be called upon while you're here. And I think that's definitely something really nice and different.
Absolutely, of course it is. And people don't want to be bored. They actually want to be involved and get something from the session. Otherwise, they've kind of sat there for maybe an hour and they've gained nothing from it. So yeah, absolutely, that's a great one. And of course, that only leaves Erica, that must have gone for highly effective learning environment. So what brings you to that assumption?
I think I've been lucky to attend and be part and deliver some interesting sessions that have been really interactive, and I've seen the benefit of it. And I've explained the benefit of it for quite a lot of people that perhaps start with a perception exactly how Stephen's just described really well there. So there's lots of people that will associate a webinar with boring, passive, listening, multitasking, doing my emails, writing a report at that time. But actually, that's the difference between something like this versus something like a webinar, isn't it?
Yeah, of course it is. Absolutely. Far more passive. I've seen many a learning event that's quite the same as well. So fantastic. Okay, I'm just going to stop sharing those results. So that should have disappeared off your screen now. So thank you for that, guys. Like you've just said there, the general perception, and I'm going to share some research with you actually in just a few moments from last year. The general perception is that there's no interaction. They're very passive. There's no participation. Just like Stephen was saying there, you can kind of almost sit there with your feet up. They're boring. It'll never replace face-to-face. If I had £1 for the amount of people that have said that to me. And also the learning and retention is not as effective as well. Which again is a little bit like what Stephen said before. They kind of throw all of this information at you and just expect you to remember it. However, there is another way. It can be highly interactive, lots of participation, and there's best practice, shall we say, that we can kind of have a look at around this. And learners want to be focused, and they are engaged because they're involved, they're asking questions, they're forward thinking. And of course, we now know that the research and what it's told us that substantiates actually if they're structured in a certain way and formulated with the learner in mind, actually the learners retain an awful lot of information. And I'm going to share some, like I've said, research with you a little bit later into the session as well. But what I'm also going to do, I'm just going to come out of share mode in just a second. And I'm going to file transfer this document for you. This is a document from Cindy Huggett. And this was some research that was taken back in 2019. I can't wait to see the research from 2020, just to see how it shifted, how it's moved. You know, even Zoom, if you look back there, Zoom is 3rd in 2019. I'd love to know where it is already this year, because I bet it's absolutely smashed it out of the park. So let me just come out of share mode just for a second. And what I'm going to do, just while we are out of share mode, I'm just going to grab a document for you guys, and then what you can do is actually download that document out of chat, and then you can read that at your leisure later on when of course we are out of session, because there's quite a lot of information in that document. I'd be really interested to hear afterwards as well what your thoughts were. Okay, everybody see that document?
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Everybody press download. Excellent. Superb. You could actually, I'm not sure if the cutoff has actually gone, but you can actually take part in Cindy Huggett's research for this year as well, which has been fascinating, and I've actually done it for the first time, so I'm super excited. Okay, fantastic. Thank you for that. So let's just go back then to screen share, and I'm going to ask you another question. Now we're going to use chat, hold and send this time. So you're going to need your chat panels back open just in case you haven't done them. I'm sure you have already. And I want you to answer the question, but don't press send for me first of all. How often should we plan interaction for that engagement that we've kind of just mentioned to actually take place? So this is a planned interaction. How often do you think we should do it to maintain that engagement? Pop it in chat. Give me a green tick once you've done that. Once you've popped your answer into chat. Just waiting for Stephen just to give me a green tick. That's on your participants panel, Stephen, just in case you've forgotten. Or just give me a thumbs up in the camera if you've popped your answer in. Perfect, that's fine, absolutely. Even better because we can see the cameras. Okay, press send for me. Let's see what it is that we're getting. Oh, Stephen said every minute. Goodness me, the facilitator's going to be busy. And Erica's saying every 4 minutes. You know, they're not bad guesses, to be honest. But it's actually every 3 to 5 minutes is the recommended time to ask that question, to gain that interaction, to get mics open, etc., to share screens, and to keep the learners continuously moving. Human beings are attracted to things that move and that create that involvement. So it's a great way of keeping people engaged. So well done. Both of you did very good guesses there. Excellent stuff. I'm going to ask you another question. What functionality is there then? Now we've used a few already in this particular session. So what functionality is there to create that interaction that we need to do every 3 to 5 minutes? And this time, let's just pretend we're in a face-to-face, shall we? And let's write it on a post-it note. So again, you're going to need your annotation tools here. What functionality is there to create interaction within this platform? Or actually within quite a lot of platforms. So things like, I don't know, WebEx, Adobe. Yeah, drawing tools, fantastic. That's certainly one of them. What I can also do as well is, oh, it's turned itself off. Is that I can hover over who you are. So Erica said drawing tool, perfect. Also typing, yeah. Stephen's mentioned chat, perfect. Even better actually, because you've used different fonts. That saves me a job. Excellent. Stamp tool, yeah. We're going to use the stamp tool in a few moments. Erica's also said arrow. You can use the arrow. You can only use one at a time, can't you, in Zoom? Little bit frustrating. Of course, in WebEx, you can use multiple arrows. Anything else coming? Yeah, there's Erica's arrow, just to illustrate that fact. Anything else from Stephen?
Almost.
So what were those little things I asked you to put on before for the chat, hold and send? Oh, file share. Absolutely. We've just done file share, haven't we? Brilliant. That Cindy Huggett document. Thumbs up. Yep. You've got that as well, of course, at the bottom of your toolbar. So if you give us a thumbs up, just like Erica has there, that appears in your camera. Excellent stuff. It's actually quite a lot, isn't there? Okay, I can't see any more that's come in there. So fantastic. Thank you very much. Oh, open mics as well. Yes. What have you got to watch though with open mics that it doesn't kind of almost kind of fall into? Any
Background
idea?
noise.
A little bit of background noise, absolutely. But just a call. Don't use any tools. It's just now a call with the cameras on. Well, we were doing that before. So let's use the tools and utilize them. So yeah, definitely. Fantastic. Thank you for all of those. Again, I'm going to save that document and I'm just going to clear those annotations as well. Now, what I'd like you to do is use a stamp tool. Functionality here. I'm going to bring them in one by one. Just use your little stamp here, the little tick tool. Just tick for me. Which ones of these have we used so far today? Yep, I think there's one more. There we go. I knew there was another click somewhere. Okay. Yep, whiteboards, emoticons, polling, chat, hold and send, icebreakers. That was your word search right at the very beginning. Brilliant. Chat, hold and send. Yep, got you to do that just a second ago. Breakout rooms we haven't done. I've not passed control. You can actually pass keyboard and mouse control as well to a delegate. Look at that. I mean, we've been going 22 minutes. Look at the amount of interactions that we've actually done there. External apps, things like Jamboard, for instance, or polls everywhere is other forms of interaction that you can actually use as well for your learners. Get them really involved. And that is what maintains that engagement. So fantastic. Breakout rooms. Anybody been in a breakout room? Yeah? What's your thoughts about breakout rooms? Stephen, what's your thoughts?
Really productive.
What makes them productive?
I think you kind of go away, don't you, from the actual session itself?
Okay.
And you're obviously with the other participants in this group. I think you can just really start talking to each other about what your thoughts are, and it just kind of the conversations just explode really, and just go on and on and on. They're brilliant.
Fantastic. Yeah, they most certainly do, don't they? And I think that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Again, of utilizing the functionality. I mean, when we look back, at that slide just a second ago, I'll just go back to screen share. There wasn't much that we didn't do in this session already, but the breakout rooms, I agree with you. I think that adds another dimension to the session. And I think it also allows, like you've said, the learners to have that space to have a conversation as well, away from the main room. So yeah, it's great point. Thank you, Stephen. Okay, so let's just come to topics then. You're going to need your stamp tool here. And this is always an interesting question to ask. Which of these topics do you think would not be appropriate for the online environment? And let me just move this slide on. So we've got things like team meetings, for instance. You can give us a tick there if you think a team meeting using your stamp tool. Sort of sharing figures and information and what's the other word that I'm kind of looking for there? Sort of finance data type stuff, shall we say. The guy looking down is actually, it's gone off the side, but it's fixing a printer. That guy's looking down at his printer because he's mended it. Do you think that's going to be appropriate for the online environment? Give us a tick or a cross using your annotation tools. Coaching sessions, one-to-ones. Do you think they're appropriate? What about surgery? Do you think we could actually do surgery online? Or wine tasting? Do you think you could do wine tasting online? What's your thoughts? Pop that into chat for me and see what your thoughts are. Okay, I can see a few stamps have gone on there. Okay, so Stephen said no for the wine table. Oh, and Erica. Surgery, okay, no. Ticks for the one-to-ones, brilliant. Yeah, the sort of team meetings and the finance stuff, etc. Yeah, of course you can do them online. And of course, fixing a printer, that's interesting. Somebody's just given us a green tick there. So fixing a printer, you say. Why do you think fixing a printer, you can do that online?
Yeah, that was me. I live on my own, and whenever something breaks, I go to YouTube and watch like a video or whatever. So I think it would be the same thing online. You could kind of show either a video or an animation or some instructions or something, and people could follow it perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. Of course you could. There's still some theory or some tutorial that you can actually do. Of course there is. So that's a really good point. But you've both gone for things like surgery and wine. So let's just come to the wine first of all. Why did you say no to you can't do wine tasting online? Stephen, what's your thoughts about that one?
You asked us about what's appropriate.
Yeah.
I think is that really the best way to use this tool?
Okay. So, but how do you think they would do it? How do you think they would run the session?
A wine tasting session.
Yeah, wine tasting session. It's going to be a little difficult, isn't it?
Just a bit.
Yeah. So what are we going to need to run it successfully then, do you think?
Everybody on the same page. Like everybody's got the same wine ready. Everybody's got all the same bottles.
Absolutely. And that's absolutely how they do it. And you will be very pleased to know, and I've just popped into chat there, that there is actually an online wine tasting course that you can go on, and they send out the wine, they number the bottles. So at the time when you're tasting the wine, you know which bottle you're on, and the tutor can point you. So in other words, for me here, we've got a few different things going on, haven't we? The limitations of thinking, that's not appropriate, that. We can't do that. That's never going to work in this online space. Or actually, if we're being really honest, our imagination is actually the limit here. We can do anything we want online. Maybe not all of it, but certainly parts of it or elements of it. And it's down to us on how it is that that's going to work for not only for us as a facilitator, but also for our attendees as well. So thank you for sharing your thoughts there. So if we're going to do it online, we're also going to need things that are going to kind of help and go along with the wine, for instance. We could have great visuals of wine bottles and specifics, or maybe the vineyards. How awesome would that be? It's really got me thinking now about the visuals that we could use. So how should slides be designed then to kind of really maximize that visual attention? I've just given you a little hint. But is there anything else that you think might really help the learners connect with the subject in an online space? Anything else that you can think of? Yeah, Erica's saying there, high resolution pictures and photos, definitely. You've probably noticed that this presentation has got lots of pictures. Absolutely. Stephen, what about you? Not too much text on the slides. Yeah. What's the impact of too much text, Erica, do you think?
I think we're tempted to read it. So we might miss what you're saying or what somebody else is saying.
Yeah.
And yeah, you might get a bit confused maybe.
Could do, absolutely. You might get a bit confused. I completely agree with you. And we can't read and listen either at the same time. So that really doesn't help us, does it? Stephen, anything from you?
Yeah, I think relevance as well, like pictures that are relevant to, of course, what you're doing.
Okay. Yeah. So in context with what it is that you're talking about. Yeah, fantastic. That's a great shout. Thank you for that. Oh, and a good headline as well from Erica. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
so many times you see slides that have just got a load of rubbish at the front, at the top of it, because it's almost like it's almost like that's their way they're indicating to themselves what the slide's around, rather than making it, like back to Stephen's point there, about it relevant actually.
Yeah, no, definitely. That's a really good point. Thank you for sharing that, Erica, as well. I have just saved that text, so please don't think I'm clearing it down. So like we've just been saying there, and Erica's just mentioned this, those clear full screen images as well, that minimal text, get rid of it, strip it right back. It doesn't need to be there. No less than 24 point on the font either. Stick to a theme though. Otherwise it starts to look a little bit jumpy and a little bit odd. Stay with similar colours, that continuous movement all of the way through your slides, so you're kind of talking. Lots and lots of slides. It's not death by PowerPoint in here. You actually need them to support that learning and make it conversational as well. And don't forget to ask questions. Ask that question. Get them to complete an exercise and then consolidate the learning just like we're doing now. It's exactly the same format. And it really works, and it really helps keep those learners' attention as well. I did mention to you also that there was some research that was completed that actually really substantiates exactly that, what we've just been talking about. And there was two groups of people that had, or that went through, that took part in this research. Group number one, all they had on the information that they were given were just bullet points and text on the slides. There was nothing else. Group number two, though, they actually had one key learning point and an image. That was it. That was in context, just like Stephen said, with what it was that you were talking about. Now, I think it's pretty obvious that group two could recall more information than group one. Chat, hold and send again, percentage, by how much do you think group two could recall over group one? Any ideas? Pop it into chat. Give us a green tick once you've popped it into chat. Perfect. Thank you, Erica. Or just give us a thumbs up, Stephen. That's cool. If you've popped it into chat, your guess. Perfect. Okay. Where you go. Thank you. Oh, Erica's saying 50%. Oh, Stephen's saying 80 to 30%.
Oh, no.
The other way around. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. It was actually group two could recall 69% more information than group one. What do you think about that?
Massive, isn't it?
That's massive, isn't it? Just by constructing your slides in a different way and allowing your learners to kind of take the information in from a pictorial perspective rather than a word perspective. That's huge.
I think it challenges things like the way sometimes companies kind of want to enforce how they want their slides and things.
That's very, very true. Absolutely. I've worked with many companies that have very, very text-heavy slides. Yeah, most definitely. That's a really good point. I've just popped into chat as well, the research. So again, please feel free. You can save the chat. 3 little dots at the side means that you should get the little option there that you can save the chat as well, so you can keep hold of that for yourselves for later on as well. So this kind of made me chuckle almost when I started to write this slide. Carry on making slides like this if you like, or you can change the way they look. Use full screen images that have much greater impact, 69% better recall of information, and paint pictures in learners' minds. That isn't really doing what we've said though, is it? There's loads of text. There's a picture just plonked in the corner. But what could we do differently? What about making it full screen as you're talking? What about making it really, just imagine you're almost sat on that plane. Erica, you will be very soon.
So.
I hope so, absolutely. You know, they want to live, you can paint 1,000 words with a picture. Do it. You know, you think about, let's just say, I don't know, we were talking to trainee pilots, for instance. There's a cockpit, you can really create that motivation and that dream that, of course, that maybe they were heading for. But what you don't want to do is kind of fly into that either. So you can talk about weather too. But just as an example, how you can use images and make it really conversational, that actually really brings things to life for the learners. So my second to last question to you, what ideas do you have that could actually stimulate the learners visually? Because we've just looked at some images, but what else could we use?
Videos?
Brilliant. Yeah, definitely videos. Anything else? Stephen's having a think.
If you're looking at data, I suppose like pie charts and things like that.
Yeah, charts and graphs, all of those types of things. Yeah, fantastic. Stephen's still having a bit of a think, so I'll help him out.
Erica got both of mine that I was thinking
about. Yeah, okay. All right.
So even just something daft like at the beginning, like an icebreaker, like I did with you guys before, that word search, for instance. This, this is just a simple spot the difference. Just don't forget to give people the answers, because they get really frustrated if you don't. Things like, where are you from today? You can put your little stamp marks on. Where are you calling from today? Where are you in the world? You can even do it with a world map, for instance. It doesn't just have to be the UK. We have a massively global spread, don't we? And here is, oops, I've just put my little stamp on my movie forward bit. And there is the world map as well. So it's all about, like I said before, thinking creatively. And there's Stephen right at the very bottom. I don't think you're too far away from Stephen, actually, Erica, are you?
No, just about an hour and a half left, I think, on the map.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So we had a look before, Post-it notes, for instance. You can use those Post-it notes as well. It's no different. Let's just utilise it just like we do in a face-to-face arena, and as well, just like Erica's just mentioned there, things like videos, YouTube clips, all of that type of thing. Mix it up. Why not? Change the voice in the session. So we are just going to move to the close now in our little speedy session. So what I want to know first of all is, what questions do you have?
What kind of other platforms, Sam, do people use? We've talked about Zoom today, but what are the other popular ones, do you think? WebEx
is still very popular. That's just about to go through a change, actually, bringing it in line with Zoom, interestingly. Cameras, for instance, like we can, let me just come out of share mode just for a second. So like we can go into things like gallery view. WebEx is about to do the same. Adobe Connect is still very, very popular, but of course you've got things like Teams, for instance, and Skype as well. But Teams is a little bit more restrictive in regards to the interactions. So you've got to get really creative if you're going to be using those types of platforms. So that's a great question. Absolutely. Stephen, anything from you?
Just on the visuals. I mean, how do you get the best out of the visuals?
How do I get the best out of the visuals? Yeah. I use two websites, actually. One's called Pexels, www.pexels.com, and pixabay.com as well. And that's where I get all of my visuals from. They're free, copyright free. And as you can see from this session today, they're really impactful.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you. Great question. Okay, so let's just move into our final whiteboard. I want to know what's been your biggest light bulb for you today. What's been your light bulb? Yeah, Erica's saying there, can be highly interactive. Absolutely, they most certainly can be. I just don't think people necessarily realise a lot of the time the functionality that's actually available to them. Absolutely. And more slides are as good visual. Yeah, if you use them well, most definitely, that's brilliant. And Stephen, Stephen, the power of visuals. Most definitely. Love it. Again, let me just save that whiteboard. And again, I'm just going to clear those tools down there just as I move forwards. So this is a very, very true statement here, and one of my favorite quotes. Tell me I forget, teach me I may remember, and involve me I may learn. And it is very true, and even more so for this environment. We need to be involved to be able to learn and to retain that information. But what I want to do though, first of all, just before I get you to log off, these were your takeaways that you put just about 35 minutes-ish away. How have you fared from your takeaway? Give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down. You can do that with your little Moors. Yeah. So Erica's saying yeah, and Stephen's saying yeah. Absolutely fantastic. That's awesome. Brilliant, guys. Okay, can I just say thank you very, very much then for the session this afternoon. Really enjoyed spending time with you. I will be here if anybody wishes to take anything offline. If you are ready though to log out, you just simply click the end meeting, which is in that bottom right-hand corner. Just come out of there. And like I've said, if anybody wishes to stay with me to take anything offline, please feel free to do so. Other than that, guys, have a fantastic evening. And it's been really, really enjoyable spending this time with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. That's been brilliant.
Yeah, thank you.